So now today we are going to finish our chapter number 2, that is kings, farmers and town. Right? So in last video we discussed about these towns and trade in urban center in ancient India. Right? Now today we are going to discuss about point number 7, that is how are inscription deciphered. Now inscription, as you know, right, writing on a hard surface, on the rock, on the clay, on these metals, right? And deciphered means read. Now in total what you're going to discuss today is how are inscription read, means how historian and archaeologists able to decipher, able to read ancient script. So today we are going to discuss about that. Now first, those persons who study about the inscriptions are called epigraphy. Now that is 1 mark question, right? Epigraphy means those persons who study about the inscription. The scholars, right? They study the inscription and then they try to reconstruct the ancient history. So they are called epigraphy. Now in ancient India we have two most, the popular or very popular script that we use were, one is Bahami and then another one is Kharosthi. These two scripts are very important, right, during this ancient time. So we are going to see what is different between these two scripts. Now first, Bahami script were usually used to write in this northern India, where the Magadha, Mauryan, this Kuru, Panchala, and this Avanti, this area, right? In this northern area, these Bahami script were used. These Kharosthi script were used in this northwest part, present day some part of Afghanistan, then Pakistan, then Taksali, Gandhara, this area we use this Kharosthi script, right? Nowadays we call it Pakistan. Before 47, it is part of India. After the partition, it became Pakistan, right? You know about it. Then second difference between these two scripts are, Bahami used to write from left to right. Right now we use from left to right, right? They used to write from right to left to right. And opposite to that, the Kharosthi script used to write from right to left. Just like we have this intermediate script used to write from right to left, right? So just like same. So that is second difference between the Bahami and Kharosthi script. And third difference between these two are, Bahami script were usually are used for the Ashokan inscriptions. The inscription that we found about the inscription about the Ashoka, King Ashoka, from these northwest frontier provinces to Assam and then to the Andhra Pradesh, like almost this Mauryan dynasty happened, where we found the inscription of Ashoka, or most of them were written in Bahami script. And Kharosthi script were usually used by Indo-Greek king in this northwest area, right, where the Gandhara, Taksali and this Pakistan area, where they used by the Indo-Greek king on coin and inscription. Now Indo-Greek king, why they call Indo-Greek king? Because they were Greek, Greek by their culture. And why they call Indo? Because they imbibed India culture when they ruled this, when the Mauryan Empire declined from 185 BC. Then these Indo-Greek king became popular between this 2 century BC to 1 century AD. Right? They have a different kind of king. We have this Apollodorus, we have Demetrius, and then we have Menes. So different kind of kings were there. They became very popular after the decline of the Mauryan Empire. So they ruled on that area, the northwest part. So they used Kharosthi script. So these are the two very important sources used during the ancient time, right? Now we are going to discuss one by one how Bahami and Kharosthi script were deciphered. Now first we look to the Bahami script. The Bahami script, deciphering Bahami script. Now deciphering Bahami script means how historian able to decipher, means able to read Bahami script that used in ancient India, right? Now if you remember, right now we are using this Hindi script, right? Ka, kha, ga, ga, nga, Hindi script. All of these Hindi script were derived from Bahami script, taken out from Bahami script. The Devanagari script, this Devanagari script that we are using right now, right? This is the Bahami script. Most of the script used to write modern Indian language, means the Devanagari script that we are using right now, are derived from Bahami script, just like this. That is Hindi language that we are using, Hindi script, ka, ta, da, ma, ra, right? And then this Bahami script, right? Now from Bahami script, this Devanagari script was derived. From Devanagari script, our own this Tibetan alphabet, Sechi Sumju, were derived from Bahami script during the 7th century by the King Sonson Gampo, with help of King Sonson Gampo, right? So the Devanagari script derived from Bahami, right? Understood? Now most of the Ashokan inscription that we found during that time, ancient time, were written in Bahami, as I told you before, right? Most of the Ashokan inscriptions were written in Bahami script. Now, how historian able to decipher Bahami script? See, European scholars helped by the Indian Pandit, means European scholars, right? They were helped by Indian Pandit, means Indian Pandit teach European scholars about the Devanagari script, about the Bahami script, right? When the European scholars, they mastered this script, so what they did, they compared between these two scripts, and then they finally deciphered the ancient script. Now it sounds very easy that when I say it, but actually that's a very difficult task. It's a painstaking task, because to master only one language, only one script, it takes almost like 20-15 years. So how, the Europeans, they have to learn two different language script. On that they have to decipher ancient language. So it's, unimaginable work that they've done, right? So through that way, in 1838, James Friendship deciphered Bahami script. When James Friendship know that this Bahami script were written in Pali language, Prakrit language, then he can able to read more inscription. Pali, Prakrit language is language of the ordinary people. The Sanskrit that used by this elite people, kings, queens, and kshatriyas and brahmins, right? And this Prakrit script were used by the ordinary people. Most of the Buddha's teachings were in Prakrit language. So through that way, Bahami script were deciphered. And now, second script that we are going to discuss about is, see, is a James Friendship, right? He deciphered Bahami script, and he also deciphered this Kharoshthi script, right? Now, second script that we are going to discuss about is how Kharoshthi was read, means deciphered. How historian able to read Kharoshthi script, right? Now, most of this northwest part is Gandhara, Taksali in Pakistan. These Kharoshthi script were used during the ancient time by the Indo-Greek king, right? On their coin and their inscription. Now, this is a picture of the Kharoshthi script, right? The script used in inscription in the northwest India, as I told you, right? Most of the script used in Kharoshthi script. Now, most of the Indo-Greek king, their coin can, in this previous video I told you, right? Indo-Greek king were the first rulers to introduce coin with the name of the king and image of the king, right? Now, Indo-Greek coin contain the name of the king written in Greek and Kharoshthi script. Now, what they did, Indo-Greek king, those who ruled in this area, they issue bilingual coin, one in this Greek coin and another in Kharoshthi coin. See, now how they deciphered? Now the question over here is how historian deciphered this Bahami, this Greek and Kharoshthi script, right? Now, both coins were issued by the same king, right? Same king. Now, suppose if the name of the king is Tashi, so here Tashi should be there, and here also Tashi should be there, right? So the letter T is present in both of these scripts, right? So through that way, we know the historian able to decipher Kharoshthi script, just like see over here. European able to read Greek compared the letter. Now those European scholars who able to read this Greek letter, they can able to compare with the Bahami script, just like that. Suppose these both belongs to the same king, Apollodotus. The king Apollodotus issued that coin, right? This coin. Now the letter A should be here, or letter A should also be here, just like see. The letter A could be found in both scripts, of course, if both of the coin were issued by the same king, right, Apollodotus, right? One is in Greek language, one is in Kharoshthi language. So of course letter A should be in both of the coin. So by comparing the letter, those who are able to read the Greek, they compare here, and then through that way they decipher the Kharoshthi script. Understood? Okay, let me give you an example. Suppose that is my phone, right? Suppose language setting of my phone was, something mistake was happened. So my language was converted into Spanish. Now I don't know how to read the Spanish. Now I have to, fix it up to convert it into English language. Yes or no? So how could I do? What I do, suppose my phone is this Samsung, right? Samsung Galaxy. Now what I will do, I will borrow the same phone that somebody has. So by looking at this phone setting, language setting, and then through that way, I fix that phone, right? How? Because I don't know the Spanish, but I can able to fix. How? With the help of this, another script. Just like over here, with the help of the Greek script, archaeology able to compare letter, and through that way they decipher Bahami, the Kharosthi script by the James Winship. So through that way, Kharosthi script was deciphered. When James Winship know that Kharosthi inscriptions were Prakrit language, in a Prakrit language. Prakrit language, as I told you, right, language of this ordinary people. So it helped him to read more and more inscription of the ancient India. So through that way, it became possible to read another inscription as well. So through that way, both the Bahami and Kharosthi script were deciphered. Now see, European has, this British have done lots of bad things to India, right? They drained the well, they killed lots of Indian people, right? Almost like they looted, right? For India for almost like 200 years. But that is, something bad things. But we also need to appreciate some kind of good work they have done, right? Just helping out to find out the Indian histories. Through that way, we know about the Ashoka, we know about this, all the ancient history with the help of the Europeans, right? If they were not there, then it is very difficult for us. What could be the history of today? Nobody knows. Understood? Now, next we are going to discuss about historical evidence from the inscription. Now, here what it means how historian able to find out the history from the inscription. Now, by studying the inscription, how archaeology taken out or derived the evidence. Now, see, if I give you an example, when the prince, right, he deciphered the Bahami and Kharosthi script. At the time when he found a lot of inscriptions during that time. Most of the inscriptions were written Priyadasi, right? A king called Priyadasi. They found many inscriptions written Priyadasi, but they don't know who is Priyadasi. And around 1830s, they found many inscriptions. They also found inscription. It also written Devanama Piya, king called Devanama Piya. Now, Priyadasi means present to behold, right? And then Devanama Piya means beloved of God. They also found that kind of inscription, but they don't know who is that person. Later on, they also found inscription Devanama Piya Priyadasi, right? So they know there is some kind of person, even they don't know. They found the inscription written Devanama Piya Priyadasi. And fortunately, around 1915, in a place called Karnataka, we call a place called Maski, where we found one inscription. It's written Devanama Piya Ashoka. Now, through that way, archaeology get very clear that Devanama Piya, beloved of God, Priyadasi, this present to behold, and Ashoka, right, without sorrow, all belongs to same person. Why? With the help of this evidence or inscription, right? By looking at inscription. Just like see, epigraphy and historian, after examining and study all these inscriptions, right? These inscriptions, the different they found. One written Devanama Piya, one written Priyadasi, one other inscription written Devanama Piya, Priyadasi, and then one inscription they also found written Ashoka only. So by studying all this inscription, finding the match, is there any matching between these? Yes, of course they did, right? In terms of contain, right? Contain means what it contains. It is ordered by the king. It's written by the king. Also style and the language they use is Brahmi, same. Right? And come to conclusion that after lots of this pen striking process, by doing lots of study, they came to conclusion that this all the inscription belongs to same king, that is Ashoka. And this Ashoka have adopt different kind of title like Devanama Piya, Priyadasi. These are the different kind of title used to adopted by King Ashoka. So through that way they found the inscription. So through that way historical evidence from inscription. By studying the inscription, they know about they find the evidence. Just like look at over here. See, before they found many inscriptions, as I told you. Finally they found inscription like that. See, Devanamapiya P. Ashoka. Devanamapiya Ashoka. Can you please zoom a little bit? See? Devanamapiya Ashoka. So through these kind of inscription that have archaeology, that Priyadasi or Devanamapiya belongs to same person, that is King Ashoka. Understood? Okay, not only that, whatever they found, archaeology found, they have to do this good kind of study. They need to pay attention, because they have to judge whether these inscriptions were true or exaggeration, means something that is more than it is said. Just like Tashi swim faster than dolphin. Is that exaggeration? Nobody can swim faster than this kind of dolphin, right? So through that way, so archaeology also need to pay attention in these kind of some kind of inscription. Is exaggeration what they need to find out about it. Understood? They need to filter between this myth and this history. They need to filter between true and this exaggeration. So that is the work of Ashok, the historian. So through that way, how they find the evidence from the inscription. Now, last topic of this chapter number 2 is limitation of inscription evidence. Now here, limitation means drawback, disadvantages, right? Demerit, right? So yes, we found a lot of inscription, and inscription gave us a lot of history, right? Provide lots of history, right? But there was some kind of problem, limitation on inscription, so we're going to find out. Some kind of technical problem is, first, inscription with letter missing and damage. See, damaged inscription, we found that kind of inscription. Some kind of inscription, see, letter were missing, right? These inscriptions were issued during this before this 2000 years, right? So of course we are not able to find all inscription in a good condition, because it took understood. See, letter missing inscription, and then here damaged inscription. Now the problem here is, if the inscription is damaged or letter is missing, then that kind of inscription will not provide us a solid or this clear information, right? Clear history about it. So that is one limitation. Understood? If the inscription is broken or letter is missing, that faded out, then it will not able to provide clear information or clear history about the ancient time. So that is one limitation. Now second limitation is, we found lots of inscription, right? But some of the inscription we are not able to decipher, just like this Harappan script. We know Harappan script are very beautiful. We know it has something to do with something history behind that, strong history behind that, but we don't know how to read. So that is just like window shopping. Just like we know it has some important, but we don't know how to read. Even today, historian has not able to read this inscription. So that is also limitation of inscription, right? Evidence. Understood? If you're not able to read them, that's why Harappan culture has, when we study the Harappan culture, we use this word repeatedly, probably, maybe. How that happened? Because inscriptions were not able to decipher by the historian. And the third, it is not always easy to be sure about the exact meaning. The word used in inscription, word that was used in inscriptions were, exactly, historian have to find exact meaning of that word that was used during that time. Suppose if I give you an example, the word foreigners, ajnabi, during the medieval period, people use the word foreigner or ajnabi if there is a part of their society. If somebody is not part of their society, they call them ajnabi or foreigners. Suppose people, those who live in the forest or those who live in a city, both of them are foreigners, ajnabi. Right? And nowadays, foreigners means those people not belongs to our own country, from foreign country. We call them foreigners. See, the use of the word has also been changed, right? So through that way, a historian has to be very, cautious about when they look about the meaning, find about the meaning. Is that the kind of exact meaning they use in ancient time? So that they need to also find. So through that way, it will also become one limitation. And the last, epigraphy, not only epigraphy of inscription will not provide all the information, right? Many problems were there. So we need another source to find about the historian other than inscription. Suppose if we have inscription, then what we need to do, inscription, we also need to compare with other sources like this text. Then comparison, then we need to find the history, right? Otherwise, this inscription not only provide a complete history of its economic and social and culture history of ancient India. Understood? So that is the end of our chapter. So in this chapter I taught you about this 1 marks question, 3 marks question, and different kinds of these important things were also there. And note or the note is also in the PowerPoint presentation. So that is all about the chapter number 2. Thank you.